Hey everybody, it's Spencer here. Just before we get started with this episode, I want to say we've got a special extended cut of this one on our Patreon. There was just a lot of stuff that we were forced to cut. The runtime was something like 3 hours long when all was said and done, and just a crazy amount to have on our regular feed. So we trimmed and trimmed and trimmed, but because we like hearing the sound of our own voices so much, we wanted to offer that uncut version somewhere. So we decided to upload it to the Patreon. Hey everybody, it's Spencer here. Just before we get started with this episode, I want to say we've got a special extended cut of this one on our Patreon. There was just a lot of stuff that we were forced to cut. The runtime was something like 3 hours long when all was said and done, and just a crazy amount to have on our regular feed. So we trimmed and trimmed and trimmed, but because we like hearing the sound of our own voices so much, we wanted to offer that uncut version somewhere. So we decided to upload it to the Patreon page. If you're a patron, jump on there, enjoy it. If you're not, check it out. Patreon.com/EHDBZ. A lot of good stuff on there for you guys, and hope you enjoy it. Everybody else, enjoy the episode as it is. Take it away, John and Spencer. It's a weird way to do that. First things first, we got to do a big boy shout out to those patrons that are giving us a ridiculous amount of money to continue doing what we love to do and helping catapult our careers into the stratosphere. Whoa! $1 at a time. Those wonderful big boy patrons are Tyler Hyatt, and Spencer Feuerstein. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you.
Last time on Eric Eats Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta turned into a Majin and he fought Goku and then he knocked him out. And now we're gonna talk about what happens next this time on Eric Eats Dragon Ball Z.
Welcome to Arcade's Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
And I'm John.
And today we're going to be going over episodes 235 to 239 of Dragon Ball Z. Starting with episode 235, the English title is Gonna Eat Ya. Nope. The Japanese title, of course it is Gonna Eat Ya, The Hungry Majin's Supernatural Powers. The English title is Mealtime. It's very subdued.
My episode title is Deborah, more like Devora.
Oh,
get it?
I made the same joke, except I said Deborah, more like the cookie, which I thought was pretty good because it's.
I quit. Find a new fucking co-host. I'm done. That was the worst thing that I've ever heard come out of your mouth.
Well, at least I didn't bring Vor into this.
I didn't either. Toriyama has a thing for it, and I think it's pretty marked at this point that it's just like
some executive was like, "Hey, Toriyama, last saga we had some kind of weird stuff with the whole like
cell absorption
people thing,
stuff.
The absorption thing.
Yeah,
can't do that anymore. Can't have other characters being absorbed by the villain. It's too weird for the kids.
Kids, they're growing up with like sick, twisted fantasies. Toriyama, you got to stop." And so Toriyama went into his workshop. And he wrung his hands and he went, I can do whatever I want. He did whatever he wanted.
He did.
Isn't it a little weird? I find it a little weird.
The constant absorption of characters?
I think Toriyama has a penchant for a character devouring another character. And it just happens to also be a weird sex thing. So that's all. That's all. Maybe it's totally unrelated. I think it's very related, if I'm being honest, but it's just a weird thing. So
you gotta give him the benefit of the doubt.
We should. Actually, we shouldn't. Based off of the things that happen in the 5th episode of this series, I don't want to give. All right, we'll get there. So we start this episode where we left off last time. Isn't it Vegeta over a dead Goku?
We start with Vegeta, unconscious.
So
we finally have a plot reason for why the door of the spaceship has been following them around. And it leads into a really weird sort of teleportation kind of angle where like magically the hatch has been transported to this other part of Earth. And then Vegeta decides, sneak attack. I'm gonna kill Boo to finally be the hero. Goku's unconscious. He's not gonna take this one away from me. he decides to go into the hatch of the spaceship. And then like as soon as he goes down the hatch, he's over there next to Boo, right? Like from a weird magical standpoint. And then he powers up and blows up the spaceship from the inside and creates mass destruction right next to Boo and Bobbity, seemingly unaffecting Goku, who is lying unconscious next to the hatch. And as far as I know, at that point, the hatch has disappeared and it doesn't come back because the spaceship's deleted. It's weird, and they don't dwell on it or even really bring up the logistics of it, but it's kind of insane.
It doesn't make any sense at all. It really doesn't. Unless this is like some superliminal shit. Unless this is like some Unreal Engine 1 fake door hallway through the map shit. Like it hurt.
Yeah, I thought about it a little bit too long as well.
Yeah.
It's not even like they're being like, oh, be impressed by our physical gymnastics as we bend the laws of reality. They don't dwell on it long enough. It's like kids just being like, well, the door's here now, so it leads over here. And without them like extrapolating what that means in the physical space of the world and how weird it is. Because the door exists over here, but every other part above and below it doesn't. And how? Why?
I don't. And what? Okay, what happened? We have to move on, Spencer. Like I can't dwell on this. I don't know why this hill is what my logic part of my brain decided. Yeah, we're gonna die here. But
no, it was weird.
I can't.
Also,
about it.
And we're gonna talk about this again, I'm sure. But like, I understand on the level that I probably understood it as a teenager, that Vegeta coming out of the evilness and being a good guy and doing what he's about to do was cool.
Yeah.
But man, that was a quick about face. All of a sudden, he's just the greatest hero the Earth has ever seen and has no trace of villainy within him at all. And it was a little bit tough for me to swallow because of how quickly he got there.
It was a very fast turn, but it wasn't that fast. I will give the show credit because during the fight that he got with Goku, he was finally getting what he wanted. But Goku was reiterating, you still care about your family and shit, and you're lying. And this Majin Buu thing that we're both feeling is the bigger deal. So somewhere in there, Vegeta is not the villain that he wants to pretend he is being to fight Goku. He's fronting. He's faking it. He's been faking it this whole time.
I think this is my problem, is unless he's been putting on the most extraordinary front in the history of them, it's, well, not only I am going to defeat Boo, that part's pretty fine, but like all of the extra stuff, like minute 1 of this episode, he's like, Gohan, oh, I'm so sorry that you died. That's like not a thing that Vegeta has ever or would ever say up until this point.
I see what you mean. Like
he's all of a sudden not only the hero of the story vis-a-vis the villain, but like the ultimate Earth good hero Goku like figure. Like he doesn't feel like Vegeta.
I disagree. I actually completely disagree, and I have reasons for why I feel this way, and it's because he beat Goku. He has post-Goku clarity. He finally can think again after this absolute horrible obsession with Goku, and he finally beat him, albeit via unscrupulous means. And he kind of, in my mind, comes back to his senses of who he is as a human being before Goku showed up again.
He's not a human being.
Before he... Saiyan being. Before Goku ever showed up and this tournament ever happened. Back to him thinking Earth is a nice place to live. Because he, through that 7 years, has actually changed. And we've noticed Dad Vegeta. He's a different character now. He has little bacon bits of goodness in there. This is the turn for his character back to, oh, I've made a horrible mistake, but he's Vegeta, so he's not really going to think that. He's just immediately going to radically accept that he fucked up and move on, like immediately. I don't know. I'm more okay with it personally. I do think maybe it was played up for the sake of what he's about to do, to try and make it seem a little more inflated of a moment. But
sure,
it works for me, even if it's a little jagged.
All right.
I'll give you a little jagged.
That's
It's a little.
fair.
It's not smooth. It's not smooth, but it's a little jagged. But it worked for me. He does apologize for Gohan being dead. He feels bad about it. He's like, I'm sorry. This is my fault.
And I think that that's probably like where the incredulousness of mine comes from. Like, he doesn't apologize for killing a bunch of people. Like, he doesn't seem remorseful for that end of his actions.
Well, they're not people to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that it would have gone a long way of if he had just like inserted a little something about the future of the Saiyan race has fallen or whatever.
That would have helped.
Bad about that. Sort of like making clear where his priorities lie, because I think the way it's presented, at least how I took it, was that he's just good. Like, he not only wants to save Earth, but he cares about all the people in it. And Gohan was sort of like the microcosm of that thought line.
Yeah, and I don't know.
And maybe it wasn't.
I got more that he cared about his family. That's what I took away from it. He actually does give a shit about Trunks and Bulma. Those are the things that he cares about. And in defeating Goku, he realized that, and again, it wasn't really a defeating Goku.
No, I disagree. I think he could have killed him if he wanted to.
He could have.
He had ample opportunity if he really wanted to. He defeated him. He's down.
You know what? You're actually right. In that, because he could have killed Goku, he is not truly evil on the inside. And he hasn't been this whole time. He just wanted to fight Goku. Like, that's the whole reason he did it. It's because he just wanted to pound on Goku. He wanted to finally
it's interesting
do it.
He didn't say, I win. There was no like moment of like, finally, Kakarot, I am victorious.
That's
he
true.
just immediately like switched to a different gear, which is funny to me.
I completely understand what you mean. If only because the next 5 episodes have the most incredible whiplash that I've ever experienced in this entire show.
I think that's kind of what's giving me that vibe.
I'm taking this scene separately, but I completely understand what you're saying now. Thinking about it, I completely understand, because
which
holy
we'll
shit, these episodes, man,
it's a lot. So we have a Deborah versus Boo fight. Boo kind of like does his childish thing, and he keeps just repeating, I'm gonna eat you, I'm gonna eat you.
He sings and dances. Yeah.
He does. He sings and dances. Deborah gets pissed, just wails on him, and then punches Boo into a cloud of smoke. And we all know what that means, but Deborah is excited. He thinks he's finally beaten Boo. Bobbity is like, what have you done? But then Boo just comes back and he's fine.
He's still dancing. He dances out of the cloud.
He's still dancing. And it may be one of the worst instances of this show repeating shit that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Immediately, Deborah and Boo fight again. Deborah gets mad, punches Boo into a cloud of smoke, and like cheers that he's successfully defeated Boo, while Bobbity gets mad and is incredulous that Deborah could defeat Boo, and then Boo comes out of the cloud of smoke completely unharmed. It's wild. It's back to back.
It's back to back, and a lot of the same exact animations as well. It's just the exact same thing played again. I'm disappointed in you, Dragon Ball Z. I was so fucking happy about everything.
I know.
And holy shit. You remember last episode when I talked about the gruel with sprinkles, the highest highs, and we're hitting the lowest lows, and it starts to become a gray? In the next 5 episodes, I am going to say the number one moment for me in Dragon Ball Z. It has become the number one moment. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody knows episode 237. Everyone knows, unless you've never seen the show before. And then we'll tell you about it. We'll talk to you about it in just a minute. But it's tied for top number one moment for me. But the rest of it, everything else in between it, is just I have to calm down. I'm getting Makio star level at this point. It's hard. This is really hard. I would rather sit and talk about deep thought philosophical things than a children's fucking cartoon show, because that's how insane it gets. Okay. All right. Okay. So Deborah, after the cloud of smoke repetition, Deborah fires the million blasts thing, which is communicating to us that he doesn't know what the fuck else to do.
Yep. He does finally try to spit on Boo and turn him to stone, which I think would have been a good opener.
That you start with the spit,
or like
right?
Like a repeated thing, because it worked so well. And I honestly can't imagine it not working. I really wish that he had done it and then Boo just breaks out of the stone or something like that, just so we know, because from where I'm standing, there's no reason it wouldn't have worked. Wouldn't it have been amazing if he did it and Boo was stone and Vegeta comes in And he's like, Deborah,
Oh
you
my
embarrassed the
God.
Saiyan race for the last time when you fought Gohan or whatever. And then he kills Deborah just like instantly. And
that's
then
what frees
Boo comes
Brute.
back to life. Wouldn't that have been
That would have been
amazing?
so good. That's a great thought. Yeah. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, you're right. There's no reason why the spit would not have worked on Boo at all. It totally should have worked. And then, yeah, that would have been the way to go.
That would have been so good. Anyway, none of that happens. He misses and the spit hits a lizard. The lizard turns to stone. Boo like charges up a beam. He's got an antenna. I don't know if we mentioned this.
He's got like a weird warbly antenna.
Yeah, it's like just part of his skin. It's the same color and everything, but it kind of comes off of his head. Charges that up with some kind of purple energy, and a beam fires from it, hits Deborah, and it's kind of a gross scene. I didn't like it because it's not instantaneous. It takes a while.
It's slow and
it's like the 18 thing. I did not. It was on that same level of discomfort for me. And Deborah turns into a cookie.
Yeah, but then childlike.
That's kind of the worst part of it, is that it injects with like the music and Boo's personality, and there's this like childlike sense of it mixed with a horror body horror sort of thing.
Does it hit you in the way that I think Toriyama was meaning to, or does it just make you feel like uncomfortable in like a bad way? Because that's what it makes me feel like. There are some ways where you can feel uncomfortable and it's okay. Like it's designed to make you feel uncomfortable, but then you come out of it on the other side being like, yeah, that was kind of hard to get through, but I get why it exists.
Yeah, personally for me, this felt like it was an accidental uncomfortableness.
Yeah. Same. Where I just don't.
It was it was weird.
I think I know why I dislike Boo. I sat here and really analyzed it. Boo comes across as dopey, childlike. He just comes across as goofy. It never gets scary. I never feel like he's really a threat, even if he's portrayed as being a threat.
Fuck.
Even if he's strong.
I kind of agree with you. I don't want to agree with you because I'm going to ask you a follow-up question.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree with you because I've been thinking about this since I finished the 5 episodes. I never felt like it was the stakes were getting higher. The show was just kind of happening to me.
Yes.
There wasn't, I don't know why, because clearly shit's happening. People are dying. But I never felt the same level of tension rising.
Stress. Yeah.
With like Cell and stuff.
Yes.
And honestly, Frieza never felt like that for me either, because I think it was just too drawn out, too stretched.
And it was a different planet.
Yeah, and it was a different planet. Cell was perfect.
Yeah.
The level of tension and fear and stuff. And I think that's due to more than the fact that he was a gentleman villain, which does appeal to me more than what Boo is. But yeah, I never, despite the fact that all of the ingredients of a tension raising, increasing threat were happening, I didn't feel like it. I just felt it was just kind of bland for some reason. So I think you're onto something. Like, what would Boo, the character of Boo, as he is on screen, have to do to instill that fear that you feel is missing?
Not fucking speak.
Huh.
That would be it. If Boo did not speak, just acted childlike, but did not verbally communicate these things, it would be far more terrifying, because Dragon Ball Z is really good at this point at visually communicating a feeling or concept or idea, visually communicating emotion. If Boo didn't say anything, it would be far more terrifying. We would not know what they were going to do next. I think that would be something that you could do. So that would be something that would add to it. But I don't think that's the correct answer.
I think it would help. I'm imagining a lot of the scenes of him like dancing around and stuff, and just kind of like, even if you just had like a little humming sort of sing-songy, but no vocals, and then just have him sort of like, well, I think that there's an element of the unexpected. The problem with Boo, I actually like him pretty good as a villain, but one of the problems that I have with him is that he constantly states what he's going to do before he does it. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to eat you. He'll say it again and again and again before he actually takes the action. If you took that out, you wouldn't know what he's going to do next until he does it. And it would seem like he's more spontaneous as a villain. Like he's doing things without analyzing any part of the action. He's just doing things on instinct. And I think that would help.
More chaotic. And going forward, we will see some changes in Boo.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think that the show does get there eventually.
And that's the thing. I wonder
if that's going to be successful because
and I wonder why it happens. Like, all I know is at this point, the villain of Majin Buu, I think, is a good villain. It makes for some really terrible moments in these episodes, though.
These episodes, especially, I think it was kind of effective. Almost. It was effective to the almost super level in the last batch.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's just overstayed its welcome or if it goes from level 10 to level 11 and that sort of spills it over the top. But these 5 feel different for whatever reason. And I'm glad that you feel the same way, because I can kind of discount the fact that like maybe it's just me or like the mood that I was in when I was watching them. I feel like these are very different episodes than the last 5.
Absolutely. It warbles. I think it is a warbling effect of going from
the warbling.
It is. And I do think it's because it goes over the top to 11 and then it comes back down to like an absolute fucking 1. And then it just so fucking hard
like
that
it's too much.
It becomes blurred. It's like the pencil trick, right? Where you take a pencil and you just up and down until where it becomes blurred and it's difficult to really grasp. That's how I feel about these episodes right now. It's so anyway, let's fucking do this. Let's fucking do this.
I can't. Man. Oh, Jesus.
So, okay. All right. Dabura tries to spit on Boo, but Boo dodges it actually really skillfully, awkwardly, for no reason, suddenly, even though Boo has not been. Okay. And then Boo zaps him and he turns into a cookie. And then he eats him.
It's a life-size cookie, and it's ridiculous and comedic and cartoony.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I like about this sequence, the way that it's done, is that I didn't quite connect the dots that means Deborah's just dead now.
Oh, yeah. Same.
I don't know why, but it just didn't. Until the lizard, where he misfired his spit, turns back into a lizard.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh shit.
He's dead now.
He's dead. Krillin turns back to Krillin.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this kind of elongated sequence where he runs into the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wait, what about Piccolo? What about Piccolo?
I know,
what about
same.
Piccolo?
What about Piccolo? What about Piccolo?
And there's this amazing moment that I fucking wish they would have just stuck with, where Trunks realizes he's murdered Piccolo.
Yes.
And he kind of flies up to where the Piccolo statue was, and you just see a shoe and like a bit of the cape or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't want to go up there. And as an audience member, I'm thinking he just saw Piccolo nuggets strewn about the place.
Dismembered Piccolo all over.
And he's going to have to deal with that. That's really interesting. That's cool. Yeah. I know that it's a little extreme, like a kid killing an adult and having to deal with the murdery thing, but he didn't know. And it's cool because Piccolo's gone now. Like there's just a lot of interesting little side plots that could play out from that.
That level of emotional trauma dumped onto a child is the level of character development and exploration that I've come to expect from Dragon Ball Z now.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, it's a little extreme, obviously, to put that, have a kid be a murderer, but take that at face value. He did it. He's pissed.
Yeah.
He goes off to fight Boo with that character motivation locked in. Because of all these series of events, Boo, Bobbity, whatever, is to blame for Piccolo just being there. Trunks didn't know. He's a kid, knocked over the statue, and he accidentally killed Piccolo. Like, he's got to blame somebody, and he's got to take out that like
and
feeling.
He's not going to blame himself because he's Vegeta's kid.
Exactly. Yeah. That would have been really interesting to play out. But the same A to B to C plays out. It's just like B is slightly different. And because of that, C is less effective.
Yeah.
The culmination of all of these steps of plot that we're building is less effective. So easily you could have had this play out in the more like character motivational forward way, and it wouldn't have changed really anything that happens in the plot. So I'm curious why they did what they did, which is
what do they do? What do they do, Spencer?
They turn around 2 seconds later, right after my wow, that's dark note is a note that says, wait, Piccolo isn't dead. He just shows up right next to Trunks. He's like, hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Piccolo. And he's just there.
He's just there.
He's there in his full outfit, which doesn't make any sense. He at least should be naked, right?
Yeah. No, he's got clothes beam. He can generate clothing.
He's got clothes being. You're right. Somebody asked, like, what happened? You were in chunks because of Trunks. And Piccolo's like, I can regenerate, you moron. But we didn't see that, and it just happens off screen. So the elevated level of, I love that you still have your hand on your forehead from.
I'm
still face palming.
I'm just. It's just. It's so hard to swallow all of this at once. And this is where it starts, is right here with this. With Piccolo is just fucking fine. And you're like, okay, I guess
it didn't show
fine.
like a piece of green tissue kind of twitch or anything like that. He's just fine. So why did we have the moment of Trunks knocking over the Piccolo statue if this was the result? Like, there's no...
Here's my guess. It was supposed to be like a red herring. Aha, just kidding. Piccolo was fine. And then the crowd cheers. It was supposed to be like that. But that doesn't play.
It doesn't.
It didn't play. It just didn't play.
It doesn't play at all. In fact, it does the opposite. Like, it gives you just a little bit of hope if you can get past the hoops that you have to jump through plot-wise. The purpose of these 5 episodes is to take all hope away from the heroes, because at the end of the 5th episode, something happens that instills hope. The whole point of these 5 is like, one by one, we've taken away a couple already, but even still, like, we're going to keep pecking away at every hope that is possible for the defeat of Majin Buu. We're going to keep chipping away until you have nothing. You literally have nothing. And because Piccolo comes back instantly, it already counteracts what you're trying to set up in the future.
Here is the thing. These episodes are Toriyama writing in full effect, where it's completely random if it's gonna hit or not. And it's just like, it hits, it misses, it misses, it hits, it misses, it misses, it misses, it hits, it misses. It's fucking hard to be okay with that. This is the most concentrated bout of hits and misses I've ever seen. It's like Toriyama's writing was concentrated into ammunition form, and he put it into a machine gun. And that's what this is. That's what these 5 episodes are. And it's so infuriating because some of these hits are so good. And then other ones are so bad.
Yeah, it's that same shit, man. If you tweaked a couple moments just ever so, you would get the best continuous hits, a level that Dragon Ball Z has never really reached, and it would be amazing. And this late in the game, that's kind of impressive that you can see that. You can see how easily they could have gone there, but they don't. They don't do it. And I think it's part of the reason why these seasons are kind of looked down upon a bit.
Yeah.
I think every moment that people hate could have worked brilliantly if the circumstances leading up to them had fixed itself. And maybe, I'll take that back as we progress through the season and next season. But
part of me hates doing this sometimes. And I'm going to say it's because it makes me feel hypocritical. Because whatever, the last episode of this podcast that we did, I will love a thing that happens. And then the following episode, almost the same thing will happen, but it hits different, and then I hate it. And then the next episode of our podcast, the same thing will happen again, and it hits very different, and I love it. And so doing this podcast, where we're really breaking down this show, because the show's so fucking inconsistent, it makes me feel inconsistent and hypocritical as a result.
But really, this whole podcast, you're just watching 2 men psychoanalyze themselves. It has nothing to do with Dragon Ball Z. It's just analyzing why we feel about things the way we do.
About anything. It's why the beginning of our episodes are about video games. It's why we go into different topics.
We're analyzing how things hit our brains and what the result is.
Yeah. And like, at the end of the day, I really love Dragon Ball Z. I really do. And I feel dumb that I have to reiterate that, because I love it enough that I'm willing to get super passionate and explode about this stuff that I dislike.
Instead of saying, whatever, I hate this show, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I think,
instead of just dismissing it.
I think I'm a fanboy, man. I never wanted to be in that crowd, but I think I'm a Dragon Ball Z fanboy, which is why I get so passionate and irrational about some of these things.
I'm just trying to be honest. It could have been so easy to be like, these episodes are kind of subpar. Anyway, bye.
Right.
It does.
It could have been.
It takes things from you, and it forces you to like think about yourself and why you like things and why you don't. And
oh my God. So, okay. Piccolo's okay. We haven't even gotten through one fucking episode.
I know.
We haven't gotten one fucking episode. So Piccolo's alive and totally fine. Krillin suggests they wait for Goku, which is perfect. Can I also say I enjoy Krillin's character? Krillin with hair is prime Krillin.
Yeah, I agree. He's like a reasonable human being. I don't fault him for like wanting to leave and
Yeah,
things like that. Like everything that he does is pretty well founded.
yeah. This is I didn't like Krillin ever until he got hair.
Are you saying that you saw a little bit of yourself in Krillin?
Why does this always have to be about a bald thing, Spencer? It has nothing to do with being bald, okay?
I'm just saying it's a little suspicious. That's all I mean.
Okay, all right.
As soon as he gets hair, you just about face on Krillin.
Maybe it is about that. Deep down, I see myself in Krillin, and I dislike the fact that I don't have hair, and therefore, because he was bald during that period of time, I disliked him as an extension of me disliking myself. And now that he has hair, I can identify with that part of me that wishes I had hair more.
I take it back though because Piccolo's bald.
Oh, yeah, that's true, and I like Piccolo.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, he has antenna. Is that bald still? If you have antenna, like if I had like a big fucking honking thing coming off of my head, would I still be bald?
You wouldn't. Well, all of a sudden that becomes your hairstyle, right? You're not bald anymore. You're just antenna rich.
Yeah, you're just antenna rich. He does have two of them. It's more than one. So I guess
antenna abundant.
Antenna.
I don't know.
So is having one more of something that you're supposed to have nothing of, is that abundance?
Yeah. If I had like...
If you had a tail, you'd be tail abundant.
Yeah. If I had 2 Teslas, I would be Tesla abundant. Because nobody needs 2. If I had 3 turkeys at Thanksgiving, like that's ridiculous.
That is
if it's just me.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It'd be like having a turducken, which like, why the fuck do you need a turducken? Only in America, right?
The land of overindulgence, for sure. Yeah.
Excessive overindulgence.
But also, in fairness, the land of fucking Thanksgiving. So we can do whatever we want.
That's true. It is our holiday, right? So, all right. That's true. It wouldn't exist without it in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh, my Christ. So, okay. Dragon Ball Z. Oh, my God. There's a huge explosion, and it's Vegeta blowing up the spaceship. Babidi freaks out, as Babidi is wont to do, because Babidi has 2 modes: laughing about how Majin Buu is going to kill everyone, and then freaking out thinking Majin Buu is dead.
It's true.
That's all Babidi's got. He's a stupid cricket man, and that's...
Oh, fuck. What if he went by Bob? Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, that would be pretty fun. Out of the explosion smoke, there is a Vegeta. And it's a glorious reveal for good old Veggie, hanging there in midair, glowing. I like that you're also doing the face rub now.
These episodes, man.
Yeah. And so, okay. Vegeta says out loud, I'm going to get you back for killing Gohan, which blows Piccolo's mind out of his antenna.
I do love that, like, Trunks, Goten, and Krillin, one of them says, like, hey, what are they saying? There's a nice little continuity with Piccolo being able to hear shit really well.
Yeah.
Because the others can't. He can. So he kind of relays that to them.
I think Vegeta calls Majin Buu ugly. Majin Buu doesn't understand what ugly is, asks Babidi what ugly is.
That was kind of funny.
Babidi tells Majin Buu he is ugly, and then Majin Buu gets fucking furious at Vegeta and gets all puffed up and steamed up.
Fuck.
And
I hate that you said if he didn't talk, it would be more menacing, because I just imagined this scene where, like, he just turns to Babidi and just goes, and then Babidi has to explain it, and then he gets mad and does the blow. Like, it would have worked just as well. With no dialogue.
If not better.
Anyway,
so
here we go. Buu versus Vegeta.
That's it. It's happening. Buu versus Vegeta. And Vegeta's staring at Buu. And then for some reason...
didn't expect an entirely unnecessary flashback is my note. Is that what you're talking about?
So here's what happens. Vegeta's staring at Majin Buu. And as he's staring down Majin Buu, Vegeta hallucinates that Majin Buu is Goku for like just a couple frames. Yes. That happens first.
It's because he's obsessed with Goku, right? Like,
I don't understand this one.
Goku for him represents the insurmountable, like the object that he has to defeat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the mountain that he has to climb, so to speak. And so he's just kind of seeing that in the next challenge. I don't know.
If it's just kind of to throw us for a loop a little bit, it's successful. But if it's trying to put something else out there, I didn't catch on to it.
It's got to be symbolic in some way. But he kind of like reiterates the fact that Goku's beating him at every turn.
This is where the unnecessary flashback happens.
This is where he's going to shine. He kind of ends it with like, even if I die, the planet will be safe, which again, I don't feel like we've gotten that far with Vegeta.
Yeah.
I can see you're right. Like Bulma, Trunks, even Gohan, because he's his fellow Saiyan.
Mm-hmm.
But the planet, like, I really don't think Vegeta's come that far, especially because he doesn't mention the World Tournament terrorist attack. Like, let's just be honest.
Oh my God, that's what it is.
Yeah, he doesn't feel regret toward that. He's never praised Earth before other than saying it's a nice place to live. Yeah. I don't know, man.
No, I agree with you on this one. I
feel like
can rationalize it, but
exactly, yeah, it's rationalizable, but like there wasn't a smooth route to get there. You kind of have to, yeah. And I think it easily could have been like just have him call it my home instead of this planet or Earth. You're not going to destroy my home. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, because that's where his family is. Mm-hmm. That's where he's been for the past 7 years. Earth is a nice place to live. Like, it kind of connects all these things, but it doesn't land. It's another moment that's so close to perfect and it just doesn't land. And I really think it's because of the writing.
And it's hard because we're also watching it with subtitles and they don't make it better. Almost every single time they don't make it any better whatsoever.
They don't actually. It's some of it in particular, and I think I pointed out in my notes, is actually worse.
Far worse. In the upcoming episodes, I chose to completely ignore because the English writers,
they saved a lot of these scenes.
For sure.
Which isn't as big of a compliment as it sounds, but they definitely did.
Anyway, Vegeta calls out he's going to kill Boo. Gets real pissed off, charges up, and there's a lot of yelling here. And you know what?
There is.
I really like Christopher Saboat's yelling.
He's good at yelling. I like the reaction of Boo, where you can kind of see ripples in his little pudgy face.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff here.
I mean, art's good. The music's really good. I think the music people... the music people.
You know what they're called. You are one.
The music dudes did the good sound this time.
Vegeta raises up a bunch of boulders from the ground with his immense power.
This was hilarious to me, and it broke some of the tension. So, as it does when you are that fucking strong, the Earth begins to displace around you, and in the displacement, rocks tend to float about you. Well, large chunks of rocks floated about Vegeta, and that day he chose to throw them at Majin Buu. It reminded me of Goldo doing the pebble blast at the children, just like on a larger
it's gonna
level.
Do anything.
Yeah, just on a larger scale.
And then when that doesn't work, he comes in and just starts fighting him. Buu doesn't really do much of anything, but we do get a sense of Buu as like a life form. He gets punched, he gets kicked, and there's just like these dents made in his body. No bruises, no blood or anything. Like, he's just getting punched like he was made of bubble gum, which he pretty much is.
He's oobleck, or what is that called? Non-Newtonian?
Yeah.
Liquid, something like that? Yeah.
Like that shit you can make with cornstarch
and water. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like that, and then Vegeta stops, and Boo's like all dented and pocketed full of holes and stuff, and he just goes, and then he's fine. And he's just Boo again, which I really loved. I don't know why I like that so much, but he just does a little, and he's just fine. It's beautiful.
Yeah. This is a lot. I don't know why. These episodes are taking a lot from me.
Yeah. It's because it's a mix of high and lows. I think when it's one or the other, it's fine. But as soon as you start mixing them, we've got so much more to say for some reason.
We talked about this, and it's because it's so close that we just want to fix it. And we have this passion for attempting to fix it. We come up with so many new ideas on how to fix it, but then we have to,
because it's so easy, Toriyama. You're more rich than we ever will be, and you have a dedicated fan base. Like, just spend like 10 more minutes thinking about this shit, and you're gonna have a show that's gonna be in the Library of Congress. What are you doing?
But it's so easy for us to say that, to be fair to him, because he was famous at this point. He was super famous at this point. So there's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, and he's doing it on a weekly goddamn basis.
Well, that's true. The timelines really would upset this quite a bit. That's a hard work environment for any creative.
It is. And so I don't blame him for how a lot of this turned out, but it just turned out bad sometimes. That's all.
Sometimes, I think there's a lot of talent that he has, and I think that he just doesn't work well on a deadline. I don't think that any of the Dragon Ball movies, well, the super movies that he actually worked on, turned out necessarily like horrible at this point, because he was probably given a decent amount of time to work out the story.
Yeah.
But when you're going week to week, man.
Well, and I don't think in general he is a well-rounded story writer. I don't think his primary talent is in crafting a story with A plot, B plot that ties together and little character moments that all tied in a nice little bow, or some dangling.
You got to remember, like he's an artist too.
Right. I think that is his primary.
Yeah.
Maybe his primary skill is not just in the art itself, the craft of using his hand to draw, but also in being able to generate things that will resonate massively with people. That in itself is a talent, a skill. And I think that might be his primary skill. Between what is the other show he did? What's the other show?
Dr. Slump?
Yeah, Ariel?
What?
Areola? What is that? The purple hair girl's name.
Oh,
Arale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has a talent for that. And writing is just kind of a tertiary thing that he has, that he can do or had to do in order to keep this shit going. That's probably why, because I think you and I pride ourselves on being more of a writer than anything else.
Yeah, but if I had to draw anything, I'd fail horribly.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, episode 236. The Japanese title is A Warrior's Resolution. I will dispose of the Majin. The American title is The Warrior's Decision.
My title is Pow Pow Pow, Ow Ow Ow, which is what Majin Buu says. He just does not stop saying that.
This episode opens with Goku being unconscious-ish, and then it cuts to Buu and Vegeta fighting some more. Vegeta punches Buu right into the ground, and Trunks cheers from the peanut gallery.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to have the peanut gallery cheering on Vegeta. I think it's interesting to see Trunks enjoying his father at full blast power, even if Trunks doesn't understand the Majin sign or anything that's happened there. It's nice to be able to have.
It's really nice.
Yeah, Trunks watches his dad fight for the first time. That's pretty good. I think Piccolo is always looking a little sweaty. He's always a little scared.
Well, that and he's catching up. Like he was stoned for so long, he really doesn't understand what anything is going on.
Yeah.
Also, I love that they use Vegeta's like bell theme here again, and it's
so
just
good.
Every time it comes up, I love it.
Oh.
It's an amazing theme, and like if for no other reason, this is the selling point for the American soundtrack versus the Japanese.
And he's got a little guitar solo in there behind the bells, which is just
it's
subtle.
Really,
like it's not
really
forefront.
Good.
It's
through this whole thing, Buu is getting tossed around, but he doesn't seem like he's in pain. He seems like he's more on a theme park ride than anything. Vegeta will punch him and send him flying, and he's just kind of like, wee, like he's going, down a roller coaster or something.
Throughout this whole Vegeta punching the shit out of Buu, and some of these hits are massive and they are animated really well. I was getting echoes of Spopovich's fight here. Of Spopovich just not taking any damage from Videl whatsoever.
Oh, I could see that, but they're like on another tier of power entirely.
Yes. Yeah. So I thought
like you have one person trying their hardest and the other one just not reacting at all, or not like being damaged at all.
Yes,
at least.
And so on the one hand, I was like, cool parallel, doing the George Lucas it rhymes thing. But also on the other hand, I'm like, I just saw this. This is not a new trick. I just watched this happen.
Well, and it kind of falls short because they're both Majin. So if you're trying to draw a parallel from why Majin is more powerful than not and Vegeta and stuff, I think it would have been better for the story if Vegeta would have lost the M when he turned the corner. I think that would have helped so much with like his character being as different as he is. You can create a million plot reasons for it or whatever, but from an emotional standpoint, I think it just would have made a lot more sense for that M to go a little bit away.
Yeah.
That way he really is fighting the Majin. But at this point in the story, for real, it's just Majin versus Majin.
Also,
so it's hard to...
Couldn't Bobbity just get rid of the M? Or is the M a permanent fixture now?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, because Deborah, he kind of like falls into the same category where he kind of turns against Bobbity, but Bobbity doesn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I think it would have been more interesting.
Yeah.
That's the sacrifice you have to make, right? Like you lose a little bit of power for defying Bobbity because Bobbity can just take it away whenever he wants.
That
should have been played up a little bit more, because he's this pipsqueak. He's nothing. He's got a little bit of magic, but that's it. And that would have been interesting if Vegeta turned and he was good, but he still had the Majin symbol, but he had to be careful about what he was doing and where he was firing his shots, because if he hit Babidi or if he upset Babidi or like whatever,
there's something there. He could take
away the power and lower him on the scale and make him useless against Boo, but he already is useless against Boo, so it's never mind.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. So anyway, he tosses Boo around a little bit. There's this amazing shot of Vegeta's hand as he's preparing a blast where it racks focus and it's like super close up just on his arm, and then it racks focus to his wrist as he pulls up and he's ready to fire. Like, it's amazing for an anime, for a hand-drawn animated thing to do that level of production value with the rack focus, the depth of field stuff. I love it. Every time they try something like this, it catches my attention. And this is maybe the best one that I've seen.
So he fires this and it rips through Boo. It rips through Boo. And one of the best parts of these 5 episodes happens where it cuts to Piccolo, who just goes, yeah, and then it cuts away. It's like 1 second, but it cuts to Piccolo, who cheers with a big old yeah, and then it cuts away. It's so funny and odd because Piccolo so far has been on the level of understanding Boo is indestructible. He's immortal. He's essentially immortal.
He has a giant hole in him now that Vegeta put there. Boo just powers up and then he's fine, right?
He flexes it off. He just flexes it off, which I love.
Hole in the middle.
I love when a character kind of flexes and something goes away. I think I've said that before. I love the flexing, you can't hurt me anymore thing.
I agree to a point. This massive hole in the middle of him going away instantly was kind of,
with Boo less.
It's just so pointless. Because Boo is going to be such a prominent villain throughout the next like 100 episodes or whatever, it's tough that you're already at the point where he can shrug off anything, where no matter what a hero does to him, he just shrugs it off and he's fine. It depowers the value that our heroes have in the show.
It devalues the uniqueness of the villain overall because it's just another unbeatable fuck. But that's what the show is, right? Like, are we complaining about the show being the show? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think that you need to screw with the pacing if you're going to give me an invincible villain. Up the ante, blow up the Earth, and have the rest of it take place on asteroids in space.
Jesus Christ. It's funny because you're saying these things that literally happen in the future, like they fucking knew.
Well, that's kind of my point. Is if you're going to do the things that are a good idea, because I think that this show eventually does get there, don't stretch it out. don't make us wade through the mediocrity to get to the good ideas. Just get to the good ideas. That's kind of the problem with these 5 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
Is that we have better ideas, and it's probably influenced by the fact that we've seen this show before or heard about it before, played through video games and stuff. We know that the good stuff is coming, but you got to get through so much shit to get there. Like, it's infuriating.
Yeah.
Because the good idea is right there, and you know it is because they do it later.
They do the good ideas later. And fuck, I'm going to get drunk for the next 5 that we do, man, because I know it's just going to keep being this again. And I hate sitting here complaining about something I love, but I feel like, and this is going to sound dumb, I feel like I will better be able to articulate exactly what it is that is not striking properly, that is causing this much passionate fury inside of me with like a 2 out of 5 buzz. Does that make sense?
That's your homework assignment. Get drunk and figure this shit out.
And that's what I'll do live next episode is I'll just start drinking.
I love this idea. I think this will be really fun.
We'll find out next time. So
no, we're so far from done.
Yeah. So, okay, Boo's voice. Let's talk about Boo's voice when he gets angry.
Yeah.
Because when Boo gets really angry, he charges up like crazy and it becomes purple and eclipsed, and it's really drawn incredibly well because the art in Dragon Ball Z at this point is just fucking phenomenal.
It's literally the only thing we're complaining about in these 5 is the writing.
Yes.
Like, everything else is top notch. The music, the animation, like everything.
The voice
shines.
acting is, oh my God. Everything else is so incredibly fucking good that if it weren't, I think that's what it is, Spencer. That's partially what it is. It's the contrast. One of the main things that we're paying attention to is story and continuity and logic.
Yeah.
And because everything else is so fucking incredibly there, but a lot of the stuff that we end up talking about just isn't, it's gray now. It happened. It happened and we didn't even notice.
It all mixed in.
The Superman ice cream has become gray.
Can you imagine if this podcast was just us complaining that the music sucked? like if that was the downfall
That was
of
the worst
show?
part. Well, what if it did though? What if it was that bad? Because if it was literally as bad as we're perceiving the story and the pacing to be, you can almost imagine what that would sound like.
Yeah, of course. It's this one flawed aspect of an otherwise fantastic show.
Yeah.
And because all the other aspects are fantastic, it's so obvious.
It's
that
so
this is the weak point.
standout. And it's so infuriating that we want to come up with better. Yeah. Like, what if the voice acting was just like, oh no, they are coming. I'm shoot.
That would suck because I feel like that's a
blast.
pretty huge part. Like,
Yeah.
if
Then nobody would
if I
watch
couldn't
it.
identify with the characters, nobody would watch it.
Nobody would fucking watch it. Nobody would watch it. What if Justin Roiland did every voice for every character? And I wouldn't fucking watch it.
Don't bring him into this. There's still a chance we can get him on the podcast.
Yeah, you think so? We'll bring Justin Roiland into our Dragon Ball Z podcast.
Yeah, we should. We should stop beating around the bush. We should stop stalling and just talk to Justin Roiland.
Yeah, let's just call him. You got his number,
Let's
right?
call him up.
Let's get him
Yeah.
on. Let's talk
problem.
to this guy. Boo charges up and releases a blast, and it's the blast and all blast. You see it from fucking space. Eclipses the planet. It's absurd strong, and really, it's not even a blast. He's just charging up. It explodes. Somehow, Supreme Kai doesn't die. Somehow, the kids don't die, and Piccolo and Krillin don't die. Babidi shields himself on a little bubble, which I guess is super strong. But
his barrier spell.
yeah, everybody climbs out of rocks and they're fine. There's kind of a reality check moment for Trunks, who is talking to Piccolo. Like, there's no way that Dad is going to lose to this guy, right? 100 meters away, Vegeta's bleeding on the ground because he was right next to ground zero of this explosion. And this is the part where Boo squeezes a chunk out of his belly.
Yeah, he just takes a ball of flesh from his own stomach and pulls it out
Like
into a
Space Play-Doh.
separate thing. Yeah, super gross.
Yeah. So Vegeta starts dodging a bunch of Boo's blasts as Boo advances on Vegeta, which are excellently drawn, excellently well done. Again, just the fucking art, animation, everything's fucking great.
Super high quality.
It is. And then, oh my God, Spencer, it's totally gray now. It's all so gray because it's so good. But we're just like, yeah. And then Vegeta like dodges and it looks fucking fantastic. And the Boo wraps the shit around Vegeta. And then.
Okay, that is weird. He wraps his own stomach flesh around Vegeta like it's taffy and ties him up with it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, which is creepy and strange.
And I'll give him points for that. Haven't seen this before.
Haven't seen
I
that.
still feel like it's a little fetishistic, but it's definitely new.
Oh, well, we'll get to fifth I want to talk about the fifth episode in this series. I want to talk about the next episode in the fifth episode.
Fucking yeah, I do too, but I don't, but we will.
Okay, Trunks can't handle that his dad's getting the shit kicked out of him because Vegeta's all tied up in the goo stuff now, and Boo is sitting on him and kicking him and beating the shit out of him. Trunks can't handle it anymore. Super Saiyan charges in. Episode ends.
Goten also Super Saiyans and goes too. Okay, episode 237. The Japanese title is For Those Whom He Loves, Vegeta Perishes. The American title is Final Atonement, which may be like the best episode title that we've had.
It's one of the absolute
ever.
top tier ones.
Yeah, it's up there for sure.
My episode title is the most solidly rounded episode of the show, bar none. Not a single wasted moment, and yet here I am not impressed somehow. I know why. I know why now because we talked about it. But like in the moment, I didn't understand what was happening. And I just like
isn't it weird how your subconscious can pick up on that shit and like change your mood entirely to where you're like you realize you're bored or whatever, but you don't understand why because it's something that you like you know enough consciously to realize that you should be feeling this way, but you feel that way. It's so weird, dude.
Yeah. Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, a psychology podcast.
Yeah. So this episode opens with another redo, but I actually think that this redo lands better. Maybe the first instance ever of a redone scene at the beginning of an episode landing better than the previous end of episode scene.
Is it fair that I'm still annoyed that they redid it?
I am also annoyed because I think that like there's a cutoff point in here in this redone scene.
Yeah.
That would have been a better cliffhanger to the cliffhanger that they gave you in the previous episode, but whatever. At least they stuck the landing eventually. Trunks powers up, goes to save his dad, Super Saiyan. Goten powers up, Super Saiyan, goes to help Trunks. The changes, Piccolo grabs Goten's leg. Says, no, I can't let you go there. you're going to die and I can't allow this. They have like a conversation between them that's one of the best character motivated conversations in these 5 episodes for sure.
Oh yeah.
It ends with Goten saying, if I was Gohan, you would let me go. And that like knocks Piccolo completely off kilter enough that Goten is able to wiggle free and fly towards Trunks to help him in the battle. I think it's weird. Goten refers to Vegeta as uncle in the subtitles, the Japanese version.
Goten refers to Vegeta as uncle. And I also noticed later on Videl refers to Chi-Chi
Bulma,
as aunt.
It's Bulma, but yes.
Or Bulma is aunt?
Because in the American dub, she calls Bulma old gal or something.
This also happened, if you'll remember, in the past when that little girl, during the Cell saga, the filler arc, and the little girl called Gohan brother. So maybe
so it was like in Japanese, is there just like sort of a familial
maybe
sort of slang that is just like a sign of admiration or something?
I don't know. There's that joke like the step ladder, what are you doing? But
fuck you.
I don't know. I have no idea. I did notice it as well, but I don't have enough cultural context to really grasp it. Let us know. Mail, MAIL.
Yeah, seriously. Trunks and Goten go over to Vegeta. Vegeta's wrapped up in the taffy that used to belong to Majin Buu's fucking body. And they unwrap him. They uncoil him. And the sounds that it makes and everything, like, I kind of love it. Like, it's gross and it's weird and it works for me. But Vegeta is like on death's door. He is incredibly bloody, non-responsive for the most part. But they unravel him and he kind of lays on the ground.
And then we have, oh my God, like every single moment of this episode is not wasted. Every point of dialogue is perfect because Trunks reaches out to Vegeta's internal drive by turning to Goten being like, there's no way he could be dead. My mom told me that my dad is the prince of all Saiyans.
Yeah.
And there's no way. And like, I can't deliver it. I
no,
can't.
Neither can I. Like, it's a great monologue by Kid Trunks for sure. He's
so good.
Goten, clean out your ears and listen to me. And in the background, Goten actually like cleans out his ears with his fingers. So good. But he does, like, he really admires his father, and it thinks that it's impossible for him to be down for the count at this point. I have to believe that it affected Vegeta somehow because he eventually raises up. Meanwhile, while all that's going on,
finally,
it's so good. So Vegeta does wake up. He pushes Trunks away and begins to rise to face Buu again. Piccolo has zoomed out from their hiding place, finds Babidi, and sneaks up on him like mid-rant. Babidi rants a lot. He's constantly like, Buu is going to kill everybody. We're going to rule the world, blah, blah, blah. I'm a cricket. And then Piccolo comes across and says like, you were saying... And Babidi's like, bah. He says, Piccolo, you can't kill me. You can't do anything to me because if you hurt me at all, I'll call Buu. I control Buu. I'm his master. I'm going to get him over here. I'm going to have him kill you. And so you have to let me live. Piccolo's just like, call your monster so he can watch you die, which is fucking fantastic. And they have this little altercation, which there's more filler than there needs to be. Eventually, he just slices Babidi in half with his arm, just boom.
And he's a half a body guy now. And it was a weird parallel to Frieza because he looked basically like how Frieza got chopped in half. With the his
arm sliced off in the midsection.
Same arm,
he falls down into a crater. We cut back to Vegeta.
Yeah.
And this is where that thing happens. The ultimate moment, episode 237, the one that everybody knows the show for, and very like the saga for sure. It's good. I still feel like it wasn't quite built up enough to justify.
I disagree.
I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like there should have been like one thing. Like, I want to see the tipping point where he drops his fronts, where he goes from Trunks, I punched you in the face with my full strength. You're a baby, don't cry. To I love my son, hug me. Like, there needs to be a breaking point where he's just like, he lets it all fall down. And we don't see it. I do not see it with this character.
You know what?
Going through that shift. He just is.
I think you're right. Because I've rationalized the fuck out of it. I've in-universe rationalized the fuck out of it.
Yeah, I'm not saying the moment doesn't land. It's good. It just feels like something's missing, like a precursor isn't there.
In you saying this, have realized that I've allowed my inner fanboy, my DBZ fanboy, for this moment to impact my objective judgment. Which objective judgment, they did not show his turn. They should have. They should have had a moment after Vegeta knocked out Goku, where he said, "You were right, Kakarot. I realized in going to those places, I am not that guy anymore. I was at some point, but I have changed." They don't have that. They do not have that.
That would have landed a lot better for me. And like there's something to be said for symbolism and showing and not telling, but I just don't feel like it happened here. Literally 2 sentences from Vegeta probably would have done the job, and they just omit it. They don't have it.
In the moment, I was 100% teary-eyed, and I just loved every fucking second of it. But I'm upset that you're right, because I do love the moment so much.
I was mad at myself. I was watching this moment, and I'm like, this is great. Everybody loves this part of Dragon Ball Z. It's not working for me, and I don't know why. I think about it, and I think that's why. They don't show the turn well enough for me. I mean, it's great. It is. It's a dad saying goodbye to his son. He says, "Trunks, I need you to take good care of your mother for me." And the kid doesn't understand. He's like, "What are you talking about? Why do I need to take care of mom? You're going to be here. So why do I need to, he's not getting it at all."
Mm-hmm.
It's a very sad thing. But it doesn't quite land as well as it could, I think. Me as a 13-year-old, it would have been amazing, but like, it just doesn't work now.
And in that moment, I was the 13-year-old again, where I was just all caught up in the emotions, and it is perfect for Dragon Ball Z. I don't think it could be any better as far as the show that we're sitting here watching and reviewing is concerned. I don't think it could possibly be any better.
In fairness, I think it could have been perfect. I think it already is good. I think it could have been perfect.
And is it wrong for us to expect it to be perfect? Is it?
I don't know.
Is that?
Maybe. I think that's more of the fanboy coming into it than what you were saying.
You think so?
Because it's almost unfair to expect perfection, because nobody's perfect.
And
like
no
you were saying, like with the deadlines and everything, like we should be happy that it's at the level that it is. But I think in retrospect, 20 years ahead, not being on any kind of deadline or anything, it could have been more. It for sure could have been more. But like, what moment in cinema or TV couldn't have been more?
Yeah.
If just for this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard, especially because we kind of disagree that's what. Oh, man. Yeah, I have cognitive dissonance because it emotionally worked for me. But mentally, I understand you're correct that they should have had more of
And that's the thing for me, too. Like, I felt the emotion hit for sure. There was just like a logical, like very separated part of my brain that was like, I don't know. But I still felt like, there was a little bit of teary eye. There's a lot of very effective visuals, audio, dialogue. Everything is perfect in the moment.
Yeah, but then after the fact, when you go back and think about it, you know what? Vegeta really did not convey his turn from... There was the moment where he faltered a little bit because Goku called him out on lying about not caring about his kids. Mm-hmm. But then that was it. That was really all we got for his turn from being, I am the Vegeta that I always used to be, to now being, I'm going to sacrifice myself for everybody I love.
There's a very big contrast between him showing us that he was the old Vegeta by fucking blasting hundreds of people to death.
Yeah.
To showing he actually isn't the old Vegeta. He's the good guy Vegeta by just like a twitch of the head. Yeah. It's not enough compared to what we got previously.
Mm-hmm. Real question. If it was more drawn out, would we have been annoyed at it for not being faster?
I don't know. I hope not, but like maybe. It depends on what they filled the time with. I think I really want to say that Vegeta's character is nuanced enough that showing him sort of descend into evil and then ascend into goodness again would have been really good viewing. Like it would have been fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe I would have been like, come on, just get to the
Maybe
fight.
My question has already been answered or is invalid by the very nature of you not feeling and me agreeing that there was enough time for the turn to occur. The answer to my question is yes, we would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah. But like the other side of the coin happens 2 seconds later. We get this weird like mid-episode narration.
Oh my God.
Where
yeah.
In Japanese, the subtitles are nothing. There's no subtitles over this. And I think it's a far more effective moment without the subtitles than what happens in the English dub. So,
which I understand why they did it. It was a setting of the stage kind of situation because this is such a huge moment. But
they show Goku, they show Gohan, and they say like Goku's in a coma. He's not going to help. Gohan's almost dead. He's not going to help. But like in Japanese, there's nothing. It just zooms in on Goku. You see him for a few seconds. It zooms in on Gohan. You see him for a few seconds.
For like
you kind of understand a lot. It is longer than DBZ is known for.
Yeah.
It's they're very long cutaways, and like there's wildlife happening around Gohan and you just kind of see him unconscious. It's weird how long it goes. And I think that's why in the dub they added the American narration, which like Gohan is unconscious.
Yeah, because kids would get bored and go get some
exactly. And I think it's really effective.
Yeah.
Because it's in such contrast of what the show usually does to show those long drawn out moments with no dialogue at all.
And following this, Vegeta tells Trunks, look, I know I haven't really been a father. What does he say exactly? Ever since your birth, I've never hugged you. I've never embraced you.
Yeah.
Come give me a hug. And it's 8 or 9 seconds where Vegeta is just hugging Trunks silently. Like it just holds for so long. And it was like the Videl stuff. That's what I got out of this. When they were doing the Videl stuff, there was a lot of long, drawn out moments that didn't feel wasted. They felt like it made perfect sense for it to take this long. In these moments.
I loved that it was like an elongated moment.
But it's because we just had the first half of this episode regularly paced DBZ where it doesn't do this.
It's weird when the show does this. And it's weird. It's a little weird here.
Yeah.
It sucks because I recognize that it works. And I recognize that me 10, 15 years ago would have fucking loved this. But man, just like some subtle changes. Again, having him hug Trunks for so long with that fucking Majin symbol on his forehead feels wrong. Mid-hug, having it go away would have sold the moment a lot more.
Or if he just turned around and it was gone.
Or if he just turned around and it's gone. Like there is a connotation that Majin equals evil. Right. And it's been established for a long time in this season and the previous season with Spopovich and everything.
Yep.
And I feel like that symbolism is useless if you don't use it to make a statement in a moment like this with Vegeta turning from evil to good. Like it's so easy to take the character that has been evil and move him to good using the symbol that is meant for evil and making it disappear. Like it's just so...
This show is good, and we know that it's good because we're assigning way more value to every little thing than it deserves to have, than the show ever was designed to have.
It's just so... You said something once about it happening by accident, and every time we get to like one of these big cornerstone moments, I'm like, yeah, maybe the first one did happen by accident, and this one that I'm complaining about happened exactly as planned.
Yeah,
because they just fell into having a lot more meaning in that moment than they meant to.
I don't know. It's infuriating because I don't know. I don't know what the plan was, and I don't think Toriyama knew either. And it's not like it's his fault that this became a cultural phenomenon to where 2 fucking fucks are sitting here talking about it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
made a thing
exactly.
On it. So like, is it fair even?
He was just like doing his own little story. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just going to say it. No, it's not fair what we're doing right now.
It's definitely not fair.
It's not fair. It's so not
he
fair.
Didn't know.
But
yeah,
we're going to keep doing it. And I'm sorry if honestly, if you're a fan of the show and you're sick of us complaining about it, I am sorry.
I honestly don't know. Is this why you listen to it?
Yeah.
Or is this like one of the headaches that comes along?
And you just like the
trying to
PP
get
joke.
Something you love. Yeah.
And like when we cut ourselves off fast and we're going to do all of those things. We're just going to do all of them.
It's so weird when you're in a vacuum and like, you don't know why. Like what is good and what is bad? Is this whole episode terrible?
Is this moment where we're questioning why we're doing what we're doing part of the whole goodness?
No, like it's the quality of the episodes that has sanctioned this mental turmoil that we're currently in.
It's true. It's the show.
We're questioning everything.
It's seriously, we're questioning the nature of what we're doing here with our time because of what has happened with these episodes, bouncing back and forth.
So weird.
I love doing this, man. I fucking love making this podcast.
It's really good.
So stupid and confusing, and oh my god. So anyway, Vegeta dies.
Oh my god. Piccolo, the one last thing that I want to say is that Vegeta does say, "You've made me proud, my son." And then instantly just like kind of like karate chops Trunks, and he goes unconscious. Goten kind of complains a little bit. How can you do this? You're his dad. How can a dad do this? Bam. Goten's unconscious.
Yep.
Piccolo appears. He kind of cuts Vegeta off from running towards Buu and says like, I get what you're doing, Vegeta. I do. Godspeed. And he kind of flies off again. And then you get this awesome moment where it's just like, you kind of hear Buu in the background, like way far off in the audio as he approaches, his humming, sing-songy, childish. Moments like this,
well done,
is why I think the villain works as well as it does. It can obviously be overplayed and go too far. This moment is perfect.
Yeah, it seems like you hear Chucky
exactly
in the background.
Yes, it's
somewhere.
that vibe, and you're just like, "Fuck, man, he's back again." It's just Vegeta kind of like negotiates to Piccolo, "Hey, get these kids out of here to safety. I'm gonna go deal with Buu." Fucking fantastic that these two are the ones having this conversation.
Yes,
because they were both villains.
Yes,
previously in Dragon Ball Z,
yes.
And the fact that they've come this far is phenomenal. Very, very well executed character growth, and not at all over like too far. They didn't go too far with it.
No, Spencer, I just discovered something. I've discovered a horrible, horrible thing.
Oh shit!
And you know what? I don't even know if I'm right. It's just a gut feeling that I have. The reason why Piccolo didn't die when he was broken to pieces is because Toriyama realized how good of a moment it would be to have Piccolo talk to Vegeta right here. That's why he did that. That's why.
And
Piccolo
it was after.
Break. It was
it
after
happened
he decided.
After. He was like, "Oh shit! I shouldn't have broken Piccolo because this moment would work really well with Piccolo and Trunks." Although I will say, I love this moment. I think he was right.
He was right. He was right. He was 100% right. He just shouldn't have broke Piccolo for the joke.
Yeah. The fact that Piccolo was broken, having that set in stone, is fine because he's writing the show week to week. Yeah. And realizing that Piccolo is the most successful character to have this conversation with Vegeta is also fine. Yeah. I can accept the leap in plot, the kind of like crunchy sort of the grinding that happens when you try to reconcile.
Just not ready.
It's a little uncomfortable. It is fine. I will say though, it would have been really interesting to see this conversation play out with Krillin, because Krillin and Vegeta do not get along at all.
It would not have hit the same.
It would not have landed as much.
No,
I think it still would have been a cool moment.
I think it's
the best way to do this. The best way to do this was Piccolo and Vegeta.
Yeah,
and he made it. He made it happen.
He made it happen.
Oh man, the fact that you said that, I think it's 100% correct. No proof.
Yeah, no proof at all. But guessing.
At all. But like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I might have done the same thing. Sacrifice this moment for something that will matter 10 times more.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Like the order of operations of these emotional moments, it's too good for Dragon Ball Z.
It sucks that like
for Dragon Ball Z.
The show is happening so fast that you have to make these sacrifices. You can't look at it all at once and be like, okay, this is the best way to do everything, because it's happening at a weekly basis and there isn't like a huge plan. So you have to make these sacrifices and being like, what's going to play bigger in the long run? Because there's another moment, the conversation continues between Vegeta and Piccolo, where Vegeta's like, will I see Kakarot in the afterlife? And Piccolo's like, no, the things you've done in your life, you won't get your body back. It just won't happen. Yeah. You're just too far gone. And he's like, well, that's okay. And that makes Vegeta approaching this moment even better, because he knows that he's not going to get any kind of reward. Like, he is going to go to a lesser life.
Right. He's not even going to hell. His body is going to be, his soul will be reconstituted into a new life form. Like this is the end of everything that is Vegeta. And he just takes it.
And Vegeta up until this point never would have taken this.
No, his whole thing was to be
anything
immortal.
less than the Prince of Saiyans.
Yeah.
He would never take. And he's willingly walking into a situation where he's going to get it. It's great.
Oh my God. So he says goodbye to his son. He says goodbye to Bulma. And he says, and you too, Kakarot. And he starts sparkling. And so does Boo, charging up. And he screams.
The narrator comes in. Normally, I don't like the added narration in the English dub. It's not great. We had a mid narration this episode, which was really bad and unnecessary. But the end of this episode culminates in the narrator saying, now we have one more warrior that's going up to the fight. He's the only one that stands a chance against Boo, and he's going to make the ultimate sacrifice. His name was Vegeta, a proud Saiyan prince.
Yep.
And that's how the episode ends. It's fucking fantastic. It works. I loved it. It was so great. It was it hit me in the right place. And after a half an hour of ranting about how the show could have been better, this episode, the fact that it ends like this, like brings me right back in. It's that high and low thing is unbelievable. It's unbelievable that the show can keep doing this.
I have said it before and I'll say it again. I don't know of any other piece of media that has ever made me feel like Dragon Ball Z makes me feel.
Yeah.
Like in this way, in this push and pull and this, I hate this. I am not just in love with this. It's like the top tier, the highest peak that I've ever been at. It's so fucking exhausting.
It is. It really is.
It's really, really emotionally and mentally exhausting to do this.
Yep.
It hurts. Like when we sit down to record these episodes, there's a part of me that in the back of my head is like, after this, you're just going to want to nap. Like you love sitting here and making jokes and just making silly voices and talking about this thing that you love. But afterwards, you're going to want to take a fucking nap. And this is why.
Dude, almost every time we sit down, I'm like, this is going to be quick. We're just going to go through these. Nothing really happens in these episodes. It's going to be fine. And then we really dive into it. I'm like, whoa, this show really affected me on a psychological level. What the fuck? It's kind of amazing how much that analysis just lends itself to like all the stuff my brain goes through watching this show.
Yeah. So,
dude, I got to go to the bathroom.
So do I. Do you want to take like a stop recording for a minute and do you want to make a two-parter?
No,
I don't either, but like I got to make a two-parter. So, and it
just
takes
keep
me a
recording.
Minute. Okay.
You'll cut out like 10 minutes of emptiness. I'll go make a drink. I'll go to the bathroom. You're fine.
Right.
Do what you got to
come back and make a mid-roll shout out, and I'll go make an end roll shout.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
God damn.
Ba ba da 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 ba ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da da. Oh, hey there. I didn't see you. I was just relaxing in my cool, laid-back chair, sipping this delicious drink, thinking about all those wonderful patrons that lend their support to our podcast and all of our future, past, and present endeavors. And I just want to take a moment to thank them all in this sexy mid-roll shout-out. We've got, at the top of the list, Spencer Feuerstein and Tyler Hyatt. Thanks, guys. You're 1 in a million. Well, 2 in a million. Then we've got Oh Noe Zoe, who I finally understand how to pronounce. Also great. Andrew Winden, what more needs to be said? Artex the Creator, always a welcome presence on our Patreon and our Discord. Discord.io/EricHatesDBZ. I hope that's correct. Dan, you know I love you. We're on a first name basis, me and Dan. I call him Dan. He may not refer to me at all. And Eric White, just a good guy in general. And Lori, well, Lori's one of my favorites. If you haven't checked out our Patreon page yet, maybe give it a shot. Patreon.com/EricHatesDBZ. Fuck! No, that's not right. Hang on. Wait, but I did Patreon. Patreon.com/EricHatesDBZ. Yeah. Patreon.com/Eric. Oh, God damn it. Fuck, that's a 404 as well. EHDBZ. Patreon.com/EHDBZ. It's a great little website where you can support the creators of this podcast and gain access to a bunch of cool bonus stuff that we do, with more coming. Well, I want to say every month, but let's be honest, real life gets in the way more often than not. We try our best to get something special for you every month, and we'll continue to do so till the end of time. Dragon Ball's not going anywhere. Dragon Ball Z's not going anywhere. Dragon Ball Super's not going anywhere. Dragon Ball GT is yet to be covered. All that and more in the future on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. Thank you so much for your contributions. Now back to the regular podcast. It's crazy. Oh, there he is. There's the boy. He's coming back. I won't even bother going on my rant. I have to wait till next time, next episode. I didn't see that you were wearing a DBZ shirt. And by that, I mean TON shirt.
That's because I wasn't.
What? Why did you change your shirt?
Because there was no reason for me to wear a long sleeve. It's too hot in here.
You looked good, though. You really sold it.
Oh, well, it's also 91 degrees outside. So
yeah, it's been real hot this summer, dude.
It's been fucked up.
I'm not happy about it.
Yeah. Well, it's just going to keep getting worse, and then the planet will boil over and most people will die, and then we can, just start over. Anyway, episode 238 of Dragon Ball Z. The Japanese title is The Nightmare Revisited. Majin Buu has survived. The American title is Evil Lives On. My title is Nope, Still Fucked.
Yeah. It kind of sucks, right?
This episode is... This one's weird. The highlight is...
Oh, God. This is a weird episode.
Yeah, because it's just more ups, downs. This one is another up-down episode, just like the other three that we had. My favorite part of the episode is Piccolo checking out the battlefield. That's the highlight of the whole episode for me.
Yes. To assess like what Vegeta was able to do, what happened to Buu, all that stuff. He kind of kicks Krillin away. He's like, hey, you get out of here. And Krillin's like, yeah, I'm going to go to my family. Bye.
Right. And takes the kids. Krillin has the kids that are knocked out and leaves because...
Actually, does Piccolo say go to the lookout at this point?
Oh, yeah, he does. He says they're our best shot, it just in case.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, too. Like, he already knows something that the audience doesn't know by calling Goten and Trunks our best shot at defeating Buu.
Yeah, it's Goku and Vegeta's kids. Just in case this didn't work, you need to take the kids to the lookout. I think you're right. He does say to take the kids to the lookout or something.
Okay.
There's a cut to the tertiary gang, which is... laying the groundwork for what happens next episode.
Fuck that. It's Roshi, Yamcha, like every ancillary character, Bulma, Chi-Chi, Videl, in the Capsule Corp flying machine, and they're going to find Goten and Trunks. Specifically, that's what they fucking say.
Yes.
That they're going to go find Goten and Trunks because they're worried about their kids, which at this point I'm on board with because it makes logical sense.
Makes total sense. It's what they should be doing. And Bulma has a couple little moments where she just feels her heart hurt. She just feels something in her heart, which I thought was kind of cute. It reminded me of like in the very beginning, the Saiyan saga, when she felt bad for Yamcha dying and then actually gets there and there's all the bodies.
That is nice.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. And then I started to feel bad for Bulma. Like, what does all this bad shit keep happening to fucking Bulma? And then I remembered Namek Bulma, and I didn't feel bad anymore.
She's paying for it.
That's what this is.
You also get some nice moments between Videl and Chi-Chi. Like, Chi-Chi's weirdly cordial, whereas like against any other character, she would be very over the top and angry. Like I don't know what the word is.
She would just be Chi-Chi.
Like Chi-Chi. But she's just like really on the level with Videl and seems like an actual human being, which is cool. And is just like, you probably shouldn't have let Trunks and Goten go. And Videl's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have. I'm sorry about that. Makes total sense because Videl had the opportunity to like stop Trunks and Goten from traveling into this horrible battle.
And I want to say that Yamcha backs up Videl here and says, you know what? You probably couldn't stop those kids from leaving anyway. And I was like, what is happening with this guy?
Why is Yamcha being like logical and cool?
This is strange, but Yamcha's been like this since Dragon Ball Reset. And it makes me think, are we getting Saiyan Saga cool Yamcha again?
It's the fact that like he has no pressure to perform in battle.
Yeah.
Everything around him is so past him that he has no choice than to be a civilian again.
And that
civilian
makes it cool.
Yamcha's pretty okay.
Yeah. Yamcha's coming back around. I mean,
I think he's fine.
I do too.
Even though I hate the next episode, even everything that he does in the next episode,
God.
I'm like, yeah, it kind of tracks with his character, at least. He's not the worst part of that episode. That's for damn sure.
Well, okay. I've never had more mixed feelings on a Dragon Ball Z episode in my entire life than the following episode.
Yeah.
Because it's like part of me loves what they're trying for. But anyway, let's finish this one and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes of.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, okay. Yamcha's actually pretty cool and his understanding. Piccolo decides to check out the battlefield of the crater that Vegeta has left. We also have this thing where the ship gets hit by the blast from Vegeta's explosion and the engines break. And
I feel like we haven't done that moment justice quite enough. Like Vegeta actually does say goodbye to Trunks, and Goten goes up to Boo and says, "Hey, I'm going to kill you." And then he charges up, super charges up. Mm-hmm. And then we see the result of that is like Boo is enveloped by this huge blast. This huge blast happens.
He makes the death face even.
He makes the death face. We don't see what happens to Vegeta.
We don't.
Until this point. The explosion occurs. We get the scene with Yamcha and the rest. The explosion, like radiation, whatever, fallout from the explosion hits the ship. The ship is damaged. One of the engines flares up. They try to fix it, but they can't. They're going down. They're gonna crash the ship because of this explosion. 18 kind of goes out of the ship and she's able to lift it up Superman style, which is really cool. Kinda shows she's powerful. Bring it in for a gentle crash landing.
I really appreciate that the tertiary squad is now capable because they have 18, which is on high tier fighter level. So they can they can accomplish anything they need to at this point. And it gave me like this they're evolving too kind of vibe, I guess you could say.
Yeah, they definitely are. 18's got a daughter, doesn't want to leave the daughter alone or put the daughter in danger. So one of the parents has to stay behind. So now they've got a really capable fighter.
Well, 18 saving the plane, Marin says, "Look, my mom's flying the plane," which was funny enough that I forgive her for having an unforgivable name.
The name is disappointing, but Marin's adorable.
Yeah.
Every scene that she's been in, she's avoided the annoying baby trope.
Yes.
That I honestly think that Trunks probably crossed the line one or two times when he was a baby.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. Toriyama's
he
really
was
good
fine
at
most of the time, but okay, that's fair. Toriyama's good at kids.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, for some reason, I think Toriyama's versus so many other things that I've seen where the children are fucking obnoxious or annoying or terrible.
Yeah, comparatively for sure.
Now we cut to Vegeta, who is, and I don't understand this.
I don't get it either.
I don't know why this happened. Yeah, no, I don't know. So in the midst of Vegeta's explosion, his final explosion, he turns to stone and he's just floating as a stone. And then the stone falls to the ground, breaks and crumbles in the wind. I don't know why he became a stone. And I would have accepted that is just an after effect of his gigantic self-sacrificial blast had we not introduced the concept of characters in stone already.
Yeah, it kind of plays with the logic of the season so far. I'm okay with somebody powering up enough to essentially kill themselves.
They glass themselves, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like in instances we've seen of like something similar happening before, they would have just disintegrated or broken into pieces or I don't know, not turned to stone.
No. Why did he turn into a rock? Were it established if Spopovich and Yamu turned into rocks when they died because they had a Majin symbol?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm on board. Why did he turn into a rock? Why? Because it looked cool. That's why. I know that's the reason, because it was a cool thing to do because he turned to stone.
It was all right. It was really neat. You get to see him as stone and then he falls and then he hits the bottom of the crater and then he shatters into a million pieces.
Yeah. Was it cool?
It makes for a cool little symbol.
Does it make sense? No. Was it cool? Yes. Does it make sense? No. That's all. And Dragon Ball Z lives off of the rule of cool. But that's not what I'm about at this point. I'm just, I don't know. I don't know why that happened, and I don't know why I'm so caught on it. Anyway, Piccolo decides to investigate the battlefield. That's when he tells Krillin, take these kids and get the fuck out of here. And then he says, this is awesome. Krillin, I also have a huge favor to ask. You got to tell Chi-Chi that Gohan is dead, and also Bulma that Vegeta's dead. Okay, bye. And Krillin says... He's just like there. He's like, I'd rather fight Majin Buu. God.
Yeah. And he like says it with all sincerity, which like, I can't really blame him.
No, Krillin at this point has the most difficult job that anyone has ever had in Dragon Ball Z. He's got to tell the two main ladies who are not exactly known for being stable individuals that the two people they care about most in the world, well, Bulma more or less, Trunks, but are dead. They're dead now.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Krillin right now.
Yeah, I do too. But we won't see the result of that this episode. So,
oh my fucking God. So Piccolo is investigating the battlefield and spots chunks of pink, just like chunklets.
Little pink marshmallow.
Yeah,
bits
chewed gum bits. And
chewed gum.
That's what they look like. Just like the stuff you'd find on your desk in school, just chunks of that all over the place. And he says, I guess that's all that's left is just chunks of Boo.
He's got this really cool, like little internal monologue where
it's a eulogy.
It is a eulogy. He's kind of relating to Vegeta because they are essentially in a lot of ways a similar character. And he is, I mean, yeah, they're voiced by the same person.
Yeah, I can't. I'm glad you caught on to my laughter.
But he says, like, you know, I was evil before I turned around. Gohan got me to the place where I am today. Vegeta obviously had a similar trial, and I've been through that door before. I've walked through that door before. It's incredibly difficult, and he did it. Good for you, Vegeta. Like he has a little eulogy scene, which is great. Babidi fucking survives.
Babidi somehow still fucking
I'm
alive.
so mad that he did. In the Japanese subtitles, this is something about the barrier spell, but his death scene was so perfect and sudden and unexpected and like just great.
It's exactly what he deserved.
It's exactly what he deserved. And it just kind of steps on it a little bit too much here by having him survive. He's just a little half corpse, but whatever.
If they explained that his barrier was immune to energy, but not physical attacks, if they explained any of it, I would have been more accepting. I wouldn't have been happy, but I would have been accepting. So
that would have been better.
Yeah, he's still alive, right? He's fucking just there in a little bit of a crater, and he's whining. He's just whining because he's a half a body guy. Piccolo comes across him and is like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill the fuck out of you." And Babidi says, "No, but don't kill me. Just save my life." He's just whining more, and I don't know if this is a result of this occurring. Babidi calls out to Majin Buu to save him.
Mm-hmm.
And all the little pieces of gum, Majin Buu chunks, they turn into hundreds of tiny Majin Buus, which then coalesce. They all jump into a pile and become 4 half-sized Buus, which then combine into a single full-sized Buu. Maybe it's 4 or 5 of them. And I don't...
Yeah.
It was a weird way to do it. Why did they make a bunch of little tiny ones?
I don't know why the little pink gums just didn't jump into a pile and become one Buu.
Yeah, why did they have to make the big?
I don't know.
It's just so strange.
Like I can't.
It didn't work. I'm just gonna say it didn't work, and we'll move on. How about that? It just didn't work for me.
Yeah, it's well, and the greater the heroic sacrifice, the more disappointing that it's going to be when the villain returns.
Yeah.
And to have the villain come back without a scratch on them doesn't so much say this is the most powerful villain we've ever thought, as much as it says what you just saw and felt as an audience member is pointless.
Is totally invalid.
Yes. To give him no further handicap or struggle or anything after Vegeta went through all of that is Chaozu could have run up out of nowhere and did his self-destruct thing, you know, and then reformed. Like, you're taking a pretty major character and giving them a lot of time to make this pretty major decision just to have it not work. And that's okay when it's Deborah or Supreme Kai facing off against Boo, it didn't really work for me. Like there should have been some semblance of a victory, even if it was just a small little sense of what Vegeta did was worth it.
Even if Bobbity died.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. But he
like
doesn't.
Bobbity's not dead. Vegeta is. Boo's not. Give us something.
Like we're almost. I don't. So Piccolo runs away, which is the right thing to do because Piccolo has a survival instinct.
Yeah.
From this, Bobbity. I'm just going to skip over this part because Boo is laughing over Bobbity's body and Bobbity threatens to put him back into a ball. And then Boo decides to heal Bobbity. Like that's what Bobbity asks Boo to do. And then Boo just heals him. That's a thing Boo can do.
And Bobbity's back to fucking 100%.
And so now again. Bobbity's just 100% back. So nothing happened.
And bringing Piccolo back to life is now pointless. Like invalidated on at least 3 different levels that I can count. If you're going to have these awesome moments, you've got to have them work like to a degree, like to a longer timeline than within the episode in which they take place, because this is a serialized show. Like it has to last. You can't keep hitting the reset button. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like I get it. I 100% understand what they were going for. And it's that chipping away of every piece of hope that the heroes have and leaving them with literally nothing. That's awesome.
But we're going from 100
really cool
to 0
goal.
to 100 to 0 to 100 to 0. And that's exhausting. That is too much. It's too much to do that and expect your audience to not feel exhausted by it. Okay. That's the end of the episode, didn't it?
Yeah. Supreme Kai comes back and he's alive and he's looking for Gohan. That's probably a little bit.
And then
relevant.
Bobbity rides on Boo and says, we're going to lay waste to the planet or something. And like, I just, they didn't do this in the Cell Saga where they had a villain and took him to 0 and then took him up back to 100 and took
They had a villain consistently increase in power and then drop him to 0 and then push him back up to 100 and then down to 0. And that was the end.
And here's another thing. So they had Android 20 and 19. Those were supposed to be the big bad androids.
Yeah, and I think introducing Cell on top of that was great to give you a 0 to 30 to 50 to 70 to that average progression.
Android 19 and 20 were not a threat. When the gang got there, they could fight them. Goku was able to handle 19. They hadn't planned on Goku going dynamic and getting Super Saiyan. It was an even fight there. It wasn't a 100 level threat yet. It was just like, oh, there's something we have to face. And then it's revealed those aren't actually the androids that we need to fight. Tried to handle them, couldn't handle them, but there was a plan there. There's something there on how we win. And then Cell was introduced, and it introduced an unknown element. And what I'm saying is, in this arc, we went from 0 to 100 with Deborah over the course of 5 episodes, with the looming threat of Majin Buu being another 100. And then we went to 0 again when they fought Bobbity's little henchmen, which were nothing characters, just got rid of them. And then we fight Deborah and it's another 100 fight. And then now Majin Vegeta is another 100. And then Goku's fight. And it's like, you're taking your tension. I can't articulate this properly, but it's so stretched out now that I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling anymore.
Well, and I think it happened very quickly. I think
that's really what I was trying to say. Yes.
It was passable in the last few episodes. I remember being excited at, I say remember like I'm nostalgic for it, but really it was just a few weeks ago. Like I remember being excited for when the Saiyans were more powerful than Supreme Kai had predicted. That was a really interesting plot element.
Yeah.
So I think that during those series of episodes, you had like a 70-30 fight where our side was 70. And that felt good because previously in like the Cell Saga and stuff, you would have fights that were 70-30, but Cell or the android were 70,
Yeah.
Vegeta versus 18 is a really good example of that.
Yeah, there we go.
I will argue that this saga is good. This chunk that we're in right now fucking sucks.
Yes.
And it's because you have a 0 to 100 and it keeps bouncing around. And it's just, it hurts because Goku and Vegeta is a good 50-50 fight that all of a sudden becomes a 0 to 100 fight. And then Majin Vegeta is a real threat and then faces off against real threat. And Majin Buu is also, but then Vegeta has to go down to 0 in order to make Majin Buu a threat. And Supreme Kai is supposed to be 100, but he goes down to a 0 really quickly when he leaves the world tournament. And like, there's just so much whiplash going on with the characters and the power level, and it doesn't track and it doesn't make sense and it's not warranted at all. Whereas there are elements of this season that do make perfect logical sense, and that's what we praise. And there's a lot of elements that don't make any sense at all, and that's what we're getting exhausted by. And this group of 5 just happens to have the most concentration of the nonsensical elements, and so it's getting the most flack.
So I think the reason that the episode we're about to do, I liked it so much, was because at this point I was emotionally and mentally exhausted to where I just wanted some dumb fucking Dragon Ball Z bullshit to happen that I could distract myself with. And that's what the next episode is.
I can't even disagree with you. Episode 239 is bad. The Japanese title is The Struggle of Videl and the Others Find the Dragon Balls. The American title is Find the Dragon Balls.
My episode title is The Whiplash Has Never Been Stronger than in this episode. Also, Roshi sexually assaults someone.
That's kind of my problem with this episode, besides the sexual assault, which is another big issue. But we start this episode, I felt like I missed an episode.
So did I.
From this opening scene. We're back in the Capsule Corp flying ship, Bulma, Yamcha, the rest. They're talking about how they have 6 Dragon Balls already, and they just need 1 more. Whereas before, literally 30 minutes ago, they were talking about how they wanted to find Trunks and Goten.
And now they just have 6 of the Dragon Balls, but
which
and
can go
they've been
anywhere in the world. Like that's a big deal. It's a big deal. And they just gloss over it.
So that was such a logical jump that I couldn't stop and think about it. And I just had to get on board with what they were doing.
Of course, because that's the whole episode, is finding the 7th Dragon Ball. That's this episode.
What this episode feels like is a hard reset of your fucking device. You know what this episode is? This is an alternate universe where Toriyama sidelined all of the main characters and just made a whole different arc with all of the tertiary squad.
Yeah.
And it works if this other fucking universe existed. But it doesn't. We've been in one universe the whole time. And this, the episode's not even bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good, honestly, for just a fun little throwback to what the fun of Dragon Ball, but with the tone of Dragon Ball Reset. But we weren't here. But
you gotta, we've complained about the whiplash before, where sometimes the show will be super, super serious in the A plot, and then the B plot will be fun, ridiculous side adventure.
And it just keeps jumping back and forth.
Yeah, and it's not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world. This episode could have worked if the fun B plot, since Vegeta blew up the World Martial Arts Arena, if that plot was get everybody together, this fucking sucks, and we're going to try to wish everybody back to life. So we got to get the Dragon Balls. If we had 4 episodes of them, just little tiny brief scenes of them gathering the Dragon Balls against the seriousness of the Buu, Vegeta, Goku, all that fight stuff, we probably would have complained about it a little bit, but at least it would have had a sense of
belonging.
It would have had a cohesive flow to it, and we'd know what to expect once we got into it. This is just like a hard 90-degree turn.
It's just out of absolutely nowhere. They are now having 6 Dragon Balls and doing this thing.
Yeah, from having these exact same characters do nothing, literally nothing, just talk, just have a line or two and have no purpose in the plot. All of a sudden, their plot relevance jumps to the most important because the Dragon Balls are super powerful, obviously.
Wait a fucking second. Didn't last episode the ship break from the explosion of Vegeta. So how the fuck are they flying again in the first place?
Yeah, but you see Yamcha repairing it, and it's
just
fine.
like it.
But yes, it is a jump. It's a huge jump. Yeah.
Dude, I like
if the ship crashes and then all of a sudden 18 and Bulma have to go off and they detect a Dragon Ball nearby while the ship's being repaired, you get a nice couple moments of these two previous fighters becoming moms, like their nice relationship that they could form together. You have a lot of cool opportunities to spend here, and instead you just do nothing and then pretend like you've been doing it all along and jump to the very end of the plot.
It's so goddamn confusing, especially after everything that we just experienced with the whiplash of working and not working, working, not working, 0 to 100, 0 to 100. And now this is the absolute smack in the face where we're just somewhere else now.
Like something else is going on. There's been a whole half season of the show that we haven't seen.
It just doesn't exist.
You gotta go.
It's just not there. Yeah. And so like, okay, all right. So let's talk about what is actually within the content of the episode that doesn't help. That really doesn't help. So Videl is talking about the Dragon Balls, and she's amazed that they exist in the first place. And
I like this scene a lot.
Too.
It should have been extrapolated on.
Yes,
like, having Videl come as like a point of view character where she's like, it's crazy that you can just make a wish and bring people back from the dead. Like that's
She's like, are you sure this is gonna work? And Yamcha turns around like, yeah, I've been fucking dead. It was awful, but they brought me back.
That's so great. Like that's really good.
It's so good. And then the ship does like a dive. Okay. And I don't remember why this happens. I think, can you tell me why the ship had to turn so hard? Because I don't remember why. I think Yamcha just
honestly, bad. I would have thought that my past self who watched this episode right before we recorded would have noted it. I don't have a note. I go from the fun joke about bringing people back to life and Bulma being like, yeah, Yamcha came back to life, but don't worry, most people come back normal. Mm-hmm. That's a funny little joke. And then all of a sudden, my next note is the sexual harassment assault thing.
Which is
so
all
the
that
ship
happens.
must have crashed. Yeah.
So here, I remember now Yamcha, because I just watched these 3 hours ago. Yamcha is trying to land the ship, but he's doing a shit job of landing the ship. And so it bounces everybody else around. And we'll just get the sexual assault out of the way, okay? Because it's on the table.
It's the worst.
It's the worst. It's the worst one that I've ever.
It's so in your face and like elongated, like stretched out. It's crazy.
There's no way they showed this on TV, right?
No. It had to have been cut for how absent it has been in the past like 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
It comes back with a vengeance. Right
it's been blue balled for so long.
Exactly.
It's gotta come at some point. And this is when it, oh my God.
But it's well animated, so
it is. I don't know why. Okay. Master Roshi ends up on 18's lap with his face in her boobies. The short version of this very uncomfortable 30 to 45 seconds is he says, oh, I just ended up like this, and then motorboats the fuck out of 18's tits, who doesn't even like respond, just is watching, probably because she is in as much disbelief that this is happening as we are, with Marin right there. Marin is right there.
That's the big thing for me is like her daughter's right there.
Right fucking there.
And Roshi, for like all of his faults, does have his moments of like poignant, valuable character. And I just feel like in the presence of a kid, he would behave better. Like he would know better. It's just such an excuse to insert like what I can only assume was viewed at as like regular comedy
or fan service-y stuff.
Or fan service,
So 18 goes to push him off of her, and then as he's being pushed away, he reaches over and just grabs her tit and just starts grabbing and fondling her tit, like claw hand grabbing.
It's wild. It's wild for this show. It's so beyond what they've done at any point before. Like, yeah, it's wild.
It's almost amazing. Like it's a spectacle.
It is like an episode from a different universe.
It is. It's so bizarre. And then she smacks him, and he cartoon character,
it's like Looney Tunes. Like, yes, exactly. Yeah.
through the back of the ship, but doesn't break. Like all of this together it's so exhausting.
It sucks. Like it made me mad because there was a poignancy, regardless of whether I felt like it was earned. There was a poignancy to
what was happening before.
Like, Vegeta sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
Piccolo's response to that sacrifice. The heroes dealing with like, okay, we got to get the kids out of here. There was like a weight, like a serious weight to it, and all of that. Every bit of it, even Bulma in the last episode, where you get that little like, oh, something happened with Vegeta. I can feel it. Something's going on. Like that sort of marital instinct.
Yeah.
It's something that has weight to it. And they just abandon all of that in this episode.
Well, it almost makes it worse. It almost takes the weight and boomerangs it back at you. And this scene hits you negatively even harder because of how they're abandoning it.
Yeah. It's so tonally like irresponsible
it's
from
almost,
the show that they've had before.
It's almost like a fuck you. Like like I didn't feel like it was intentionally a fuck you, but just with God, how it
was appealing to a different audience entirely, and like it felt like a different show entirely.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot at once. And then the sexual assault happened. Like it was a lot at once, and then the sexual assault happened. Should be the name of this episode of our podcast. Then they cut back to the wait with Dende. They go to the top of the tower, and we get to meet Dende, who has now grown as much as Gohan has. And they expect me to just get on board with more character growth that I like, but it's like I can't now. I'm gone. You've lost me almost entirely, and I don't know how to feel anymore. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I was excited to see Dende again, especially now that he's grown up in his new role as the Guardian. But I don't know what we're doing here now. I don't care. That's where the level I reached is. I don't care what's happening now.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like the show lost me completely on an emotional level because it just flung me around way too much in these episodes. And it was kind of the last straw with how flagrant, like it's a magnitude higher than anything that's happened before with the just jump into this Looney Tunes sort of weird attempt at humor. I was gone.
So bad. It's so incredibly poorly handled that
I was a fish on a hook, and they were getting me closer and closer. Mm-hmm. They were trying to catch me. And then they just did this, and they like flung the reel off, and the hook just like flipped right out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's like they kept you hooked, and then they whipped you out of the water and smashed you on a rock. Like it's harsh. So, okay, we learn Dende can still sense that Supreme is alive, and so is Goku.
Gohan's gone.
But
Supreme is still there.
Yeah.
And Goku's still there.
And then we cut to Supreme Kai, who is just like really fucked up. I appreciate how they drew him.
Yes, I like the turmoil that he's clearly gone through, and like his physical appearance is definitely worse for wear. But how did he survive all that fucking stuff?
No,
he was nothing. Know. He was on the floor next to Babidi, Vegeta, Majin Buu, Piccolo. Like so much shit has happened. Yeah. How is he alive?
I don't know. I don't know how the fuck he's alive. It doesn't make any sense.
He's a god, but it hasn't been built up for us to accept that at this point.
No, right, exactly. And Majin Buu clapped on his face, and he was almost dead. So how did he survive?
Yeah, how?
So, okay, we cut to Buu and Babidi flying over a city, and we just get this. It's just, I don't, like, Babidi and Buu are flying through a city, and Babidi is telling Buu to kill the people in the city, and Buu is just going towards a building, and Babidi starts screaming like cartoon, like, no, don't hit the building. Oh my God, you're going to hit the building. It's going to be awful. Don't go through the building. Whatever. And then he does, and then we get this weird like slideshow of images.
Like really, it's a really long sepia scene. Of these sepia tone slideshow images of the people inside the building, and Buu and Babidi running through it,
and Bobidi's getting hit in the face with like notepads and panties.
But it's like this really artsy sort of like version of that. I'm not sure either, man. It's cool, but like in an isolated sense. If you take it in context, I don't know. All of a sudden they're just trying to, it doesn't even evoke emotional response. It's just like, hey, we can do something fun with the animation.
In this moment, I was dead.
There's no point to what they're doing. Even though I enjoyed it because it was something different, there's no like emotional resonance or point to the plot. Like, why did they spend the time to do it this way? I don't know.
I don't understand. Because when you take your characters that were so fucking serious, literally 15 minutes ago, I was watching a cut in half Bobbity pleading for his life. And Majin Goo, kind of, come back. And then 15 minutes later, I'm watching them just cartoonishly break through a tower and people screaming, but it's a cartoon, so Bobbity gets hit in the face with panties. You can't do that to your audience. Yeah. That is fucked up and wrong to do to a human being. Like, this is torturous. Weirdly enough, I don't know how else to describe it, because I hurt from all of this happening over and over. You can't do that. And they did. And it's still one of my favorite shows of all time. And like, I don't understand what's happening with me anymore. I don't.
It's like Stockholm syndrome. That's what we're going through. I guess
so. So that happens. And then we cut to my favorite part of the episode because it's coherent and evokes fun.
No. Fuck. I mean, I get you're right, but I can't distance myself from the context in which this takes place. And it's ridiculous.
I was so broken at this point that I literally went, haha, funny, and just sat through it.
We cut to a very long scene of the group, of the tertiary group, Yamcha, Bulma, Chi-Chi, blah, 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 capturing the 4-star Dragon Ball, because of course it's the 4-star Dragon Ball, the 7th one that they needed to complete their collection. And it is so, I have no business saying this, it felt like a scene from Dragon Ball, like that sort of like childish sort of humor, kind of like this fun little tiny adventure with dinosaurs, and it's just fun, it's for kids, and it's so far removed from everything that we've seen up to this point that I couldn't get on board. It was so over the top. None of it made any sense either, because it was Bulma reaching out to try and grab a thing that literally, how many of the characters in this group can fucking fly now? Yeah, like, because she wanted it to do it herself, because she wanted to work out her regression. That's what they say.
She whatever. And so she's reaching out, and they show shots of her ass, like too many. And then suddenly her ass gets licked by a big, thick, pink, meaty tentacle. And you don't know what it is. And she gets pissed off, like, who's touching my ass? Turns around, it's a gigantic, huge pink dinosaur dragon thing with a hentai tongue. Yeah. I don't know how else to say this. I'm too far gone. It's a hentai tongue. It's what it is.
Yeah, it's a Triceratops T-Rex with wings, and it has a weird, like, frog stretchy tongue. I didn't like it. I did not.
And so it eats the Dragon Ball. It eats the eggs that the Dragon Ball is nested with. And then it starts taking off. Yamcha does something pretty fucking rad and hits it with the blast, which knocks it down. I was like, what the fuck? This is when I decided, okay, Yamcha's cool again, I guess. Like, until he says some misogynistic shit.
I actually liked the Yamcha part of it. I thought the conflict was going to be like, hey, you killed a wild animal. But really, it's just like, hey, you killed it and let it drop into the water. Go get it.
Yeah, Then Yamcha can't jump into the water because he's not wearing underwear.
He doesn't want to get his clothes wet, and then he's not wearing underwear. Those are his excuses. Again, it's fucking weird. Roshi doesn't want to go because he has a cold. 18 doesn't want to go because she doesn't want to get wet. And Chi-Chi and Bulma are like, fine, at least you're being honest, 18. These boys are stupid because they're men and girl power. And so Videl's just kind of like, okay, I'll do it. And she jumps in.
She doesn't say a word. She just jumps in, which
just jumps in.
Good character,
I did like
character moment. Like everything with Videl is perfect.
Videl's great. Yeah. No beef against her. No, she's just in a bad way, like plot wise.
Yeah, she's been bad plopped into shit. She's just been dropped in. She's still fantastic. She's just unfortunately getting covered in it. So they're going underwater. Videl has to fight the giant pink dinosaur thing.
Animated really well. Yeah. I enjoyed the sequence from an animation visual standpoint.
Great supportive music.
Yeah.
but I'm done. Like, emotionally speaking, I have already vomited on the roller coaster, but the roller coaster still has 10 minutes to throw me around.
I thought you said you liked this episode.
I did, because I was so fucking broken that I could just accept it for the Dragon Ball fun throwback that it was.
That's what it is. It's just so inappropriately placed.
It is. And in the moment, I was so fucking destroyed that I was having fun again. Like, I literally got Stockholmed. Like, I got beat to the point where I started enjoying getting beat. And that's what this episode was. And sitting here now, 3.5 hours later, talking about it, the rage and the anger is coming back. But like, in the moment, I was like, yeah, this is fun. And then they Vidal's fighting under the water.
I was so desperate for like any sense of realism that I loved my favorite part of this whole podcast episode was when Vidal swam up to get air.
Oh my God.
That's it. That's all that had to happen for me to fall in love with what was happening. Like, she realistically was fighting a dinosaur underwater and had to go breathe.
Yeah, but then so Yamcha takes off his clothes and he's in like cute boxers and he's embarrassed about it.
That was a little funny.
Like I said, there's enjoyable shit, and I was able to just enjoy it at the time, but now I'm broken.
Yeah.
So then also Chi-Chi jumps in to help, and so Chi-Chi and Yamcha are helping to fight the monster. It's beautifully animated, and you get a shot of Yamcha's toned ass, which is the most toned ass we've ever seen, which is a great money shot. And eventually,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
That I hope this doesn't come off as inappropriate.
I don't care.
With all of the like fan service that's been dedicated to Yamcha and Bulma, I think fairly equally across this episode.
Okay.
Why didn't Chi-Chi get any?
Because Chi-Chi's
No, but really. Do you have like, is there a reason?
I don't know. Now that she's the Chi-Chi that we understand as, she's no longer going to be treated as a sex object by Toriyama.
Like, was she ever? I feel like she was treated more as a villain.
Yeah. Do you remember her as a kid?
Yeah. The various things of Dragon Ball that I've seen. Yeah. Fuck that. But But now, like in Dragon Ball Z, she was more or less the villain. And now finally she's like a normal character.
Yeah.
Which is great. I'm not even saying she needs any kind of like sex appeal to work as a character, because she's great. But it's weird that in an episode that like hits Yamcha, Bulma, like, I don't know.
How come she didn't get any? How come we didn't see her titties jiggle at all? I don't know.
I don't want to say it like that, but it did seem.
I'll say it like that. Like this is a weird sex fan service episode. We can't avoid talking about it. So why didn't she get
18 any? Got some too, right?
I don't know. Maybe she's viewed as like a brood sow now. It is unfuckable. I don't know. I don't know why they do the things they do, man.
She was great. Like, she was the only other one than Vidal that was willing at the drop of a hat to jump in the water and try to get the Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Well, like out of all of them, who would I fuck? Chi-Chi. Out of all the tertiary gang, it would be Chi-Chi at this point. I would. I just want her to tell me what to do all the time. And so whatever. And next in line is, I guess, current gen Yamcha, which that's what I'm going to call this version of Yamcha. I'm smelling toast. Spencer, I smell toast. And I don't want to. I don't want to smell toast anymore. I don't want to have a show. Let's go ahead and dive deeper, because the episode continues. They're fighting the dragon, and the dragon pops out of the water. 18 pushes Roshi into the water because he's being a bitch. Roshi is about to get eaten by the dragon and then farts in the dragon's face. And that's what defeats the dragon and makes the dragon throw up the Dragon Ball. And then everybody laughs because Roshi did something useful. Majin Buu rams a train. That just happens. It's also cartoony. And then Goku wakes up. Krillin asks if he can bring his family to the lookout. And then Goku appears within transmission. Krillin almost cries a little bit. And now we're done. That's the whole rest of the episode.
I think we have to be done. Like, I can't. Yeah, I agree completely. As there's too much. There's too much shit. Wait, what was your? There's too much gruel and not enough sprinkle. I hope that this show can right itself in this saga. This felt like a huge dip. Like, just a big old pothole in the road.
This felt like a wall. This felt like a wall that we just ran into. Like, it's not even a speed bump. It felt like a wall. Like, if you ever ride a bike when you were a kid,
Yeah.
You ever try and hop a curb
Mm-hmm.
and you ever do it wrong? Where your bike comes up and gets you right in the crotch? I mean, no matter what anatomy you have down there, it's going to fucking hurt.
Oh, yeah.
When it
Yeah,
hits
I had
against your
lots of
bones.
fun bike accidents when I was a kid. For
Yeah,
sure.
same. Yeah. Uh-huh. I have scars for and literally this is going to give me scars doing this episode. It is. It is.
But next up is Goku versus Boo. So hopefully that'll be good. Next time on Arcade's Dragon Ball Z.
Like
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. You might hate the show, but he loves that you're listening to it. If you want to give us feedback, it's mail@hdbz.com. We have other shit.
What?
Like the amount of times that Spencer and I have spent on camera with our hands on our faces.
Yeah. It's been a lot this episode, huh? Did we get a voicemail? We have a phone number that you can call.
We have a voicemail, and I want to be happy about it, but I want to cry a little bit.
The phone number's, I think it's 385-DARE1OX. You can also text us, which we didn't know.
Oh my
about.
God. Yeah, that's new.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, we got a message that said, like, you guys are doing good. Keep it up, which is awesome. Thank you for whoever sent that. But all we get is the number. So if you can, like, put, like, a little from your name or something that we can reference, that would help a lot. Otherwise, people are just going to think we're making it up.
Yeah, just text us 385-DARE1OX or leave us a voicemail. The idea was voicemail, but apparently we get text, so we'll take whatever.
I didn't know that, but it just gives us an email with text in it. So
which is
contact us however you want and say whatever you'd like.
Oh yeah, we missed a call from somebody
that didn't leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
How weird would it be if we picked up like one of the calls that came in? They were expecting to leave a voicemail. We just picked up the phone.
I've thought about that, but it immediately goes directly to voicemail. It's on Do Not Disturb.
Okay.
So they immediately got our voicemail message and then just hung up. So maybe they were nervous. I don't know. Maybe it was a spam call.
Maybe it was a spam call. Yeah,
it's honestly
that would be fun to put in like a mailbag episode.
Oh my God,
like a spam call. That would be really good.
All right, here's the voicemail. Here you go. Sending this to you.
Hello. I've been listening to the podcast for a while, and I'm from Canada, so it's very cool to listen to something. And I really love Dragon Ball Z. I love you guys. I don't want to say much, but just wanted to say you guys are doing a great job and have a great podcast. Thank you. Bye.
I want to cry.
So wholesome.
I literally want to cry. After everything we've been through in this episode, those words were exactly what I needed to hear.
I know.
It grounds me and makes me feel like there's a reason we're putting ourselves through this. And I'm so happy that we have fans, at least fan in Canada.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope that we offer some semblance of good in your life like you've given us, because this show is kind of on shaky ground right now.
After today, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say that we're done doing it, because no way.
No, of course not. We're so
gotta.
close to the end, but like, holy shit, what are we gonna put ourselves through?
I don't know.
Moving forward,
I don't know. So thank you so much.
I hope it comes back around, but thank you.
Yeah, I love the way that you whispered, "I love you guys." that affected me emotionally.
Were you? I don't want to put any assumptions up, but do you remember when you were at an age where you felt like any kind of like hardcore, honest admiration had to be done as quietly as possible?
I do remember that,
because I definitely went through a phase.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna. I have so many. I just had like 17 thought threads that just appeared that I could have gone down, and I got none. I don't want to, because
we don't know if we'll be back for the next time, because this one destroyed us.
We don't. I don't know.
We now know why Team 4-Star gave up.
Oh my God, we do. Holy shit,
how do you fix this?
You don't do it. You just don't fucking do it.
You just leave.
We do want to make sure that we share for patrons the episode and say names. So thank you. Well, thank you to Brittany Harden. You're the best. Oh no, Zoe. You're the best. Eric White. You're the best. Vasco Sapinto. You're the best. Leo does Leo. You're the best. Gunny Bawa. You're the best. Andrew Winden. You're the best. Tyler Hyatt. You're the best. Croy Keener. You're the best. I forgot how long this list is. I thought it was a funny joke.
How dare
like 3 or
you,
4 times.
patrons,
And then
for making us recite names
Artex,
for
the creator.
30 seconds.
You're the best. Lori. You're the best. CJ Collins. You're the best. Jeffrey Grimm. You're the best. First ran out of the gas. First ran out of gas. The best. Spencer Feuerstein. You're the best. Dan Shoemate. I'm just going to say your last name, dude. You're the best. Felix Rodriguez. You're the best. Music's me. I'm Burn 7. You're the best.
You know what, John? I'm Majin done with this shit. That's my pun. It doesn't even technically work, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try. Just like if
Bibbidi bobbidi fuck you.